You will pay market tuition for the same mistake 10,000 times, and the market doesn't care. There's no limit on how many times you can pay for a mistake. Like, you're in the game of protecting your neutrality. You get paid for doing that. You get paid. And that is how your accounts are going to slowly bleed by 1,000 paper cuts. You lose all of your humility and neutrality, which are the two things that you need to be a profitable trader. Talk about yourself on a red day and how you talk about yourself on a green day is literally the split that's dangerous. Let me say something that might sound a tiny bit uncomfortable at first, but most day traders do not blow their trading accounts because of strategy. They blow their accounts because of who they are while they trade. Not who you think you are, not who you say you are, but who you actually are in a moment during your trades. And this can be emotionally, energetically, and most importantly, behaviorally and habitually. And I want to talk through some red flags that I've seen over and over that quietly tell me that account is most definitely in danger this month. And it's not because you are dumb, it's not because you're lazy or you're not disciplined. That's not a good excuse. And it's really not the real reason. It's because your internal state is not aligned with what the environment actually requires. And I did not just make these up. These are patterns that I've watched in real time while being in large trading communities, while teaching my own trading students, while having my own coaches, literally with traders who have experience. My friends who are traders, with people all across the board who technically know better, and yet they still carry the same behaviors that almost guarantee instability every single time. So I want you to listen to this, not to judge anybody else, but to see if you recognize yourself in any of what I'm about to say. Because if you can catch it really early, then that's great, because you can fix it early. So the first red flag is you blame the market on a red day and then you praise yourself on a green day. This is a huge one. When you have a red day, it's the market was choppy. There was some news that came out, and sometimes the market is choppy. Sometimes there is some news that just randomly comes out. Other things like, oh, it just reversed on me. Oh, that's just trading. This is just the cost of business, right? All of these things can be justified, but let's be honest. You say that when it's a red day, but then when you have a green day, it's, I didn't make any mistakes. I executed perfectly. My patience is elite. I know what I'm doing. I'm so in sync with the market. And the split between those two, between how you talk about yourself on a red day and how you talk about yourself on a green day, is literally the split that's dangerous, because it tells me something about your identity. It tells me that you are taking ownership when it feels good. You're taking ownership of the profits when it feels good, and giving away ownership when it feels bad. And that means that you are not actually neutral. You're not actually aligned. You're protecting your self-image instead of studying your behavior. And real alignment is going to look like something like this, right? You have a green day and you're going to say, what did I do right structurally? What are the things that I did that resulted in this in my behavior? And then when you have a red day, you're going to say, well, what did I do wrong structurally? What actually happened? Not asking yourself that stuff emotionally, not blaming yourself, not with the drama, because that is where I used to actually talk about myself in a really bad way, because I knew how to trade, but I would have a red day and I would blame everything but myself. And then when I started to look towards myself, I could only do it through shame. But I want us to start talking to ourselves through structure, because if you can't look at a red day and calmly say, here's exactly what happened. I was off internally. I skipped XYZ steps. I didn't follow the procedure. I did not do what I was supposed to do. If you can't do that, then you're setting yourself up to literally repeat it. We have many red flags to go that I'm going to explain so deeply. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on other videos just like this. The second red flag is you celebrate wins extremely emotionally. This one is so subtle, but it is huge. You get really hyped after a win. You get amped up, you start playing music, you start feeling like you're the one, you're on one. You start feeling this spike of emotion. Your energy just goes to cloud 11. We're not on cloud 9, we're on cloud 11. All right. When that happens, that means your nervous system is attached to an outcome. And at that moment, when you attach to an outcome, you lose all of your humility and neutrality, which are the two things that you need to be a profitable trader as far as your internal state. So here's actually what most people don't want to hear. Is that if you're emotionally high when you're green, you will be emotionally low when you're red. It's not a personal thing. It's literally how we're wired as humans. In our nervous system, you cannot train your system to only spike in one direction. You cannot try to be neutral when it's red and then always be happy when it's green, or vice versa. And you can't expect it to not swing in the other direction, because neutral traders don't get high on a win. We don't get crushed by losses. We actually do care about our trades a lot. I care about my monthly P&L a lot. But it's because I actually understand the fundamentals of it, that when your emotion spikes, you create future emotional debt. And I'm going to explain that, right? When you're celebrating an outcome, and you're playing music and you're getting amped and you're riding that high, that is the red flag. It's not because wins are bad. It's because you're attaching your emotions to the outcome instead of the behavior that led you there. Who was I being? What did I just say I was going to do that I did? What rules did I follow? That is what you need to be focused on, not the actual numbers or the win. And the attachment to the outcome is going to show up in the next drawdown. Red flag number 3 is you brush off your losses casually. This one looks so mature on the surface. I've seen experienced traders do this, but it's actually not mature from my viewpoint. This is just me and my own ideal, right? When you have statements like, oh, well, it just happens, it's just trading, I lost 3K, whatever, the market just reversed, who cares? It sounds very mature on the surface. It sounds very calm, but it's actually avoidance, literally. Because what you're doing is you're skipping your internal audit. That behavior that you had that made that red happen, that made that red trade manifest, you're skipping that internal audit. There's a difference between acceptance and dismissal. Acceptance is when you say, I see exactly what happened and I take responsibility for my role. But dismissal says, I don't want to look too closely and I'm just going to move on. I don't actually want to dig deep into what I did wrong or my wrong behaviors. I'm just going to kind of just move on. I don't want to look at that too much. And dismissal allows patterns to live. That's why this also is exposed in your journaling. And you don't need to shame yourself or spiral. You don't need to beat yourself up. None of that actually works. But what you do need to do is bring light to yourself. What were you doing internally? Did you not look at your internal state before you started trading? Did you stop and say, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm on a high from that big win yesterday. Maybe I should not trade the open. Maybe I shouldn't trade New York Open. Maybe not. Did you ask yourself about your patience level? Oh, I just got in a big argument and I tried to separate that and not look too closely at how that could affect my trading, but I went ahead and traded anyways, knowing that I can't really separate the two things, right? Did you talk about your execution? What did you violate on your own standard and your own rules? And if you skip all those things, you're teaching your system that misalignment is normal. And that misalignment is what you're going to continue to repeat. And that is how your accounts are going to slowly bleed by 1,000 paper cuts. The fourth red flag is that you don't take your internal state seriously. This is one of the biggest ones. Oh my goodness. If you trade while you're tired and you're agitated and you're distracted, or you had a really bad trading day and you treat it like it doesn't matter, that is a red flag. And it's because your internal state is part of your edge. It literally is the edge, BTW. Everybody knows support and resistance. Everybody knows supply and demand. Trading is not just the charts. Your edge is literally who you are as a person. It's either calls or puts. It's really not that much of a complicated system. It's who you're being. So yes, your internal state is literally your edge. If you don't check your momentum internally, You're gambling your execution. And trading is not just the charts, it's decision making under uncertainty. Either your nervous system is stable enough to do it or it isn't, but if you wouldn't trust yourself to make huge life decisions while you're in that type of state, why would you trust yourself with capital in a trading account? It doesn't make sense. Neutrality is not a luxury, it is a requirement of your trading. Red flag number 5 is you're trading to feel something. This one is super silent, but a lot of people trade to feel powerful and feel like they're active and feel like they're doing something, or maybe you're just bored, or maybe you feel some type of stress and you just want to see some green numbers on your screen. All of that is a red flag. And personally, I've turned all the colors off of my trading platforms. You can just change them to gray, black, and white. And what that's helped me to do is, one, be way more profitable, more than I ever could have understood how deeply the colors were affecting my trading. But also, even on your candlesticks, don't make them red and green. Change the colors of your candlesticks. It's going to help you so much to emotionally regulate. If you haven't tried that before, I definitely suggest that you turn off your colors. So yes, all of that is a red flag because now trading is regulating your emotions. I talk about this in my videos all the time, but once trading becomes emotional regulation, your account is no longer a priority. You're going to try to get your feelings to feel better under any means necessary, including wasting and blowing an account. And that is not a neutral operating system. And professional and consistent execution comes from, I trade when my setup is here, not I'm trading because I feel like it's time to trade and I feel like I'm just bored and I feel like I need to win and I feel like I feel all that. It's not gonna, please. Needing a feeling is a structural flaw, but you can fix it. Red flag number 6 is you confuse activity with progress. You think that more screen time, more trade, more lives, more sessions, more charts are going to all equal better trading, and they simply do not. Actually, 99% of the time, from what I've observed, it makes your trading worse because now you're reinforcing something you don't want to do. Now you're reinforcing noise. You're reinforcing unnecessary information because, again, you already know how to trade. You're training your system to associate busy with profit. And you think that that is being productive, and it's really not. What's actually productive is sitting out and waiting and passing on trades that look good but not that good, are B plus, C plus, and you want to just take A plus, whatever your rules are. And so that is what helps you protect your capital and protect your neutrality. You're in the game of protecting your neutrality. You get paid for doing that. You get paid for being patient. You get paid to protect your neutrality and your humility. Red flag number 7 is your identity is attached to being correct. So if being right matters more than trading cleanly, then when your trade fails, you're going to defend a bad trade instead of studying them. That tells me your ego is in the process. And ego is so expensive in the trading markets. And trading requires you to detach from the outcome, detach from identity, detach from proving anything. And the moment that you need to be right, you're going to fight the market, and the market charges tuition for the hassle, period. That's why you will pay market tuition for the same mistake 10,000 times, and the market doesn't care. There's no limit on how many times you can pay for a mistake. And this is exactly why most traders do not ever actually fix their problem. You think you're fixing it because you think your problem is entry and setups and knowledge, and it's not. Your real issue is lack of structure and never paying attention to your internal state. If you want, I break down the full operating structure I use personally, and for my students, I broke it all down inside of my private training. It is the first link in the description box. It is free to watch. How to build neutrality, building a system to where that urgency actually never appears, and how to stop one loss from turning into 5. Again, it is free. It's about 15 minutes. You can grab a coffee or a snack and watch it at the gym or during breakfast tomorrow. And the link for it is the first thing in the description box. You can watch it whenever you're ready. And let's get into red flag number 8. You tolerate misalignment because it's familiar. This one is so deep, but people are so used to chaos. You don't realize it, but people think calm feels wrong. So they subconsciously create instability. Instability that you're creating looks like overtrading, oversizing, breaking rules, chasing moves. Nobody's making you do any of that. You're actually sabotaging yourself by creating instability. And it's not because you want to lose. Nobody obviously wants to lose. Obviously, you're not trying to make yourself lose. But it's because your nervous system is more comfortable with that intensity versus neutrality. All the intensity that you feel around that instability is what your body is used to. And calm feels so boring to you, but boring is often where the consistency lives. Number 9, you don't have structural protection against urgency. If one red creates pressure, if one loss makes you feel behind, if one drawdown changes your behavior, it's not a mindset issue. You can say it is, but that's like surface level. It's actually the structure underneath it. It's most likely that your risk is wrong, and it might be right for your account and wrong for your nervous system. Have you taken that into account? Ask yourself that. It actually might be wrong for your psychology. I see this with my students that have margin accounts and leverage. Because you're allowed to have leverage doesn't mean that you can automatically handle it. So if urgency is appearing, your nervous system is telling you, this is too much for me to process. I can't handle all of this. And instead of trying to force through it, that's actually information. And ignoring it is very expensive. And the market will charge you tuition for that every single time, okay? And number 10, you don't respect neutrality as a skill. Most day traders respect entries and setups and strategies and indicators and blah, and very few respect neutrality as a skill. But neutrality is a skill. It is trained, it is protected, it is structured. If you treat neutrality like something that you can just have over time, it'll naturally come to you, you're gonna lose in the moment when pressure appears. And AKA, it's always gonna appear because that's the market that we're in. And neutrality is not a personality type. It's your environment plus sizing plus habits plus internal discipline. That is the formula. That's what it is. So the real truth I want you to take with you is that most blown accounts and all of your blown accounts were emotionally doomed before the trade even happened. The trade was just the trigger. That's it. If you recognize even 2 or 3 of these red flags in yourself, that's not a judgment. It's literally an opportunity, because the markets are going to open every single day except for holidays and maybe even the weekends, depending on your market. You have plenty of chances to start doing this today, start becoming aligned today, and change your results forever. And awareness means you can change. If you're aware that you have some of these red flags, you can change them. You don't actually need to be perfect to be profitable. You just need to be aligned. You don't need to be fearful, just neutral. That's it. But neutrality is built. It's not something you hope for. It's not something that naturally shows up as time passes and you're gonna have it when you hit 1 year. It's not gonna happen that way. You have to intentionally do what I'm saying in this video. So if you want to learn how to build a trading structure that removes urgency, stabilizes your behavior, and keeps you neutral after losses, that is what I teach in the private training. It is free. It is like 15 minutes, and it will change how you think about trading. It's the first link in the description. All you need to do is enter your email to get access, and you can watch it for free.